back, Coach. Interesting week this week.
Mm-hmm.
We had a scrimmage.
We did have a scrimmage. It was great. I mean, I thought it went really well. It was quick, in and out. It was good. It was really good.
It was uniquely different from before. It was much better. It was much more dynamic. Offensively, it was almost 600 yards of offense. Both quarterbacks looked good. About 5 running backs looked good. And more importantly, receivers look good.
I think that obviously when we brought Coach Goff in, I've said it before, it was the third head coach in 4 years, right? I mean, so it was a cluster last year.
That's a polite way of putting it, yes.
And, but the thing that he did was established a culture. He established the way that they were going to go about business and do things. And then he had a whole year to recruit, keep the players that he wanted and add to it. We are definitely better. And I'm really excited about the trajectory and the direction of where this program's headed.
Well, it's headed in the right direction. There's obviously a lot of people wanted to go 10-1 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure.
But the reality is there was a lot of damage done here.
Oh, gosh.
And I don't think, when I talk to people, I was like, I don't think you guys understand how bad this is.
People have no idea, and it's really sad what they allowed this program to become. It was a shell of itself. I've said it on this show before. They stopped investing in it. They stopped funding it. And eventually that catches up to you. And now all of a sudden you were behind people in your league that you were dominating.
They weren't even in your league.
100%.
You became behind people in your league that weren't even in your league years ago.
100%. And but 2 years ago we decided that, and I decided that we're not going to do that anymore. We're actually going to double down. We're going to invest in football. We need to. And the locker room is a perfect example. I mean, I've had people say, well, gosh, that was good enough when we won the championships in the 80s or 90s, and I'm like, it's 30 years ago. Like, the kids that you're recruiting, I mean, they weren't born in the 1990s.
And also there was nobody else investing.
No.
You were on an even par.
Exactly right. Right.
But you are no longer on even par. If you look around there, this is what everybody's doing that's winning.
And I will go a step farther. Jim, you and I have talked about this before, but what McNeese did athletically in the 90s and early 2000s with the clubs, and they were ahead of their time at that point. And it really worked. But then everything moved beyond that, and McNeese has kind of stayed stuck in a lot of ways of how they went about business, and that is helped, kind of put us behind. Yeah. So I recognize that, as my staff recognizes that. We're moving that forward. I'm excited about where we're at, and our football program is starting to get back on track.
Yeah, I always said that, because somebody asked me this once, and I said, well, McNeese is like the first house on the block to get cable. They were ahead of the pace then, but they never jumped to the internet. So
that's a great analogy.
Just let everybody else pass them by, and they said, well, we're happy with cable. My dad would have been that guy.
Right.
I'm happy with cable.
Right.
That guy got cable.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, they stand pat, and they got passed by.
For sure.
So it's an interesting thing to see. A lot of battles are going to be out there. This is why it's kind of a fun camp more than anything else, is because there's so many battles for starting jobs that there's nobody able to take a day off.
It's great, and I'm telling you, my hat's off to Coach Goff and his staff. They recruited all year. Coach Goff. Here's what I love, and I really look for in recruiting coaches now, is years ago, your assistants did most of the recruiting. Mm-hmm. Now, if your head coach is not involved in the day-to-day recruiting of your student athletes, you're not going to be successful.
No, he has to be the closer.
And exactly right. And Gary is involved, coach is involved in every single kid. I really don't know how you do it in football. Will Wade is another one. He is really, really involved in a day-to-day of recruiting, whether it be, letters, text, phone calls. And Gary's the same way. They're just relentless in their pursuit of talent. That's, in today's world, that's what makes you successful.
Also, the one thing I saw, and it's really interesting, we talked about receivers and the need for better receivers. Mm-hmm. But the 2 receivers that have stepped up the most in camp are 2 guys that were here last year who seem to have embraced the competition
Yeah.
instead of running from it. Where in the
100%.
past we would see McNeese players kind of sheepishly go off and not compete.
Exactly
They're
right.
competing.
100%. And I think, again, that goes back to the culture. I think Coach was very, very upfront from the beginning and say, hey, we're going to bring in talent, and the best players are going to play.
Best players are gonna play.
And look, you have if you're a player and you believe in yourself, and
That's all you can ask for.
You're about that. That's what you want. Bring it. If you are a little bit insecure and those things, and you want to sheep away and go, then this program's not for you. The cream always rises to the top, and I'm really proud of those returners. And I'm just proud of how coaches went about business and what he does on a day-to-day basis. And they tried him. They tried him a lot the first year, and they realized that he's a man of integrity and discipline and accountability. And I truly believe we're going to reap the benefits for it.
When we come back, Hunter Martin will join us, head of training here. He'll talk about the Heat, the improved team, and also, what's it, the weather bubble?
It's
the Heat
unbelievable.
bubble?
It's crazy, huh?
Crazy.
Great to hear about it.
Great. What's wild with Runs programs now on Polk Nation after this?
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Welcome to Big Daddy's. Come on in and have a seat anywhere. We're the little restaurant with a lot of flavor.
Big Daddy's, your local neighborhood sports grill and cafe, where there's something for everyone. On the go, try our home-cooked daily plate lunches. Big Daddy's loves kids. Bring your family for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You'll always find delicious food with smiling, friendly faces and servers at Big Daddy's.
Serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And we're locally owned.
We're making meals every day.
When you're knocked down, sometimes it might take a little longer to get back up again. But even still, know that you will. To the problem solvers, those who knocked the dust off and started over, we're glad you're still here. We're thankful we're all still here. Since 1907, we've been your Louisiana bank, your community bank. And together, we're getting back closer to normal every day. It's our heritage. It's who we are. And that's what makes Evangeline, well, Evangeline.
At Lakeside Bank, we specialize in stress-free banking services. Now you can stress less with our Great Escape Spa giveaway. One winner a month can unwind with a relaxing spa package from Scarborough's Salon and Day Spa. Then, in December, we'll give away a luxurious relaxation trip for two to Miraval Resort in Arizona. Now that's stress-free. Register today at any Lakeside banking location. Stress less at Lakeside Bank.
Welcome back to Polk Nation. It's a pleasure to have Mr. Hunter Martin, Associate AD
Thank you.
of Sports Medicine. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you. It's been a while.
Does everybody associate AD around here?
No.
It always leaves me to wonder, what does the AD do?
Not a lot. So the first question that I have for you is, it's been a while since you've been on Polk Nation.
Yeah.
What do you think of the new jacket over here?
When you texted me about this, I said, I can't pass this up. Jim's got the new fit. He's looking great. He's looking great, no doubt.
I mean, Polk Nation has changed Jim Gazzolo, right?
It's phenomenal.
Really.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like, people have makeovers. Like Polk Nation has become a makeover for Jim.
1,000% Jim.
Yeah.
Big credit to you, man. You look great. You do.
So let's get into it.
Yeah.
Football camp has started. You and your staff's days are really, really long.
Yeah.
You have an unbelievable job, and you obviously oversee all the sports medicine, but you also oversee the strength and conditioning.
Yep.
Talk about what camp has been like for you and your staff.
Yeah, so first off, camp's been, it's been a grind. It's been a grind. It's early mornings. We've been practicing from 7 a.m. to 9:30. We wake up in the morning, we start taping ankles, getting guys prepared to go out and practice, right? That comes with communication with our students, with the rest of my staff, getting water out there, making sure we have our pavilion set up, emergency equipment, ice tubs, all those things to make sure we're operating on that preventative side of things for the student athletes and to take care of them if something does come up. As well with hand-in-hand working with the strength staff. The strength staff has been phenomenal. An athletic trainer's best friend is their strength staff. Coming when it's the safe, health and safety of our student athletes. They've been great and working hand-in-hand with us out on the field. I mean, some people out there, for Polk Nation, holding water bottles, right? They think, oh, well, they're just out there doing that. No, we have our injured guys on the side. We call it Muscle Beach, working out where they can. If they can't perform during practice, they're always improving, trying to do something to get them back to the field faster, sooner rather than later, so to speak.
So you brought up a point that really triggers something with me. And when we took over, when I took over as the AD, and then you became the assistant AD over strength and conditioning and trainers, but there was a huge silo before, right, between the training staff and the weight room staff, right, or strength and conditioning staff. And it caused so many problems, Jim, because they would refuse to talk to each other. They didn't want to work together. Talk about how important that synergy is and what you do on a daily basis to keep that synergy.
Yeah, it's huge. So I'll tell you this, Heath. Number one is communication.
Yeah.
Communication. If you're not on the same page with your strength staff and your AT staff and direct line with the head coach, it causes chaos, right? We don't know where the student athletes are, where they are in their progressions and getting healthy, or, like I said, preventative-wise. Back when I first got here, when you brought me here, it was, like you said, a silo. It was, nobody really knew what was going on. There was headbutting, this and that, but now we're a partnership. Like I said, those guys are our best friends. They set the foundation in the strength staff in the weight room for their build and their muscles and their performance. And then we help them on the back end with the science, the sports science side of things, to make sure that we're prepared to play. So that's been a huge deal for us in communication aspect and going forward with that.
One thing I noticed in the last 2 years is when guys are hurt and they're lifting weights out at practice.
Yeah.
When before they'd be in the weight room, and you can hide in the weight room. You can't really hide out at practice. How important is it to keep them involved in the practices?
Well, especially with Coach Goff here, it's keeping them accountable, and making sure we have eyes on them at all times, and making sure that they're doing the things necessary to get back to the field. And like with me and Coach Lang, our head strength coach, just the communication piece. Once again, we're making sure that these athletes are being held accountable day in and day out, and they have something going, their goals. They're hitting goals, even though they're not hitting goals on the field, they're hitting goals to get back to the field.
How much bigger and stronger is this team from a year ago?
Yeah, we did some work over the summer. I think about 80 or 85% of the team going into fall camp hit personal records, personal best in the weight room. Awesome. With the players that Coach Goff recruited on this football team, and then the ones who stayed here who had a personal vendetta to try to get better. I mean, this is the real deal. We're going after it, and these kids that are here, they've gotten bigger, stronger, faster. That's the whole point about it.
Yeah, it's a completely different looking team because of that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, and the great thing is you have a reference point.
Yes.
Because you've been here, this is your 6th year, correct?
Yes, sir. Yep.
So, and you've had a few head coaches.
It's a couple.
But going into this year,
Sure.
You and I have had these conversations, but talk about the health of the team, from just a physical standpoint.
Yeah.
Obviously personal best and all those things, but how healthy are we?
We're leaps and bounds healthier than we've ever been. The COVID area, that kind of pulled us back a little bit. But going into this season, we are as healthy as can be right now.
Why? What's changed?
Accountability, communication, making sure we're spending time in and time out with these athletes, awesome. Making them better.
And how much did, really quick, how much did the fact that you had to play back-to-back seasons hurt?
It affected
as far as
us.
that goes?
It did. It really did. To be honest with you, it was the stress that was put on these student athletes, back-to-back with no recovery period. That was the key that now we've had the last 2 years that has gotten us healthier, to your point as well, Heath.
When we come back on Polk Nation, we're going to talk to Hunter Martin about the Heat and how his staff kind of fixes that as best they can without going overboard.
That's right.
That is on Polk Nation.
Serving the community of Southwest Louisiana since 1954 and a loyal supporter of McNeese State University for over 30 years, Southwest Beverage has provided scholarships to students, supported athletic programs, and sponsored the Banner Series since its inception. We pride ourselves on being the premier beverage supplier in Southwest Louisiana, offering an extensive portfolio of beer, spirits, and non-alcoholic beverages. We're Southwest Beverage, and we want to say thank you for your support.
Southwest Louisiana has a new home for fast, friendly physical therapy care with unlimited performance physical therapy. With over 13 years of experience, Dr. Greta Spangler and her caring, friendly staff are ready to serve you. They specialize in neck and back pain, post-surgical care, and dry needling. Restore mobility and live a pain-free life with unlimited performance physical therapy. Call today and schedule an appointment.
Ever since I was young, I've known what I wanted to do. Sure, I had some guidance along the way. Thanks, Mom and Dad. But eventually, I had all I wanted. Family, career. It went by fast. Now I'm here. Retirement. And thanks to sound financial planning, it will be all I hoped for. And our children will have a secure legacy. For me, retirement is the next great chapter in my life.
Ferdinandson Financial Group. Let us help you make a plan.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier, Greg Brooks,
Kyron Lacey. Whether on the field, in the community, or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team. Make a difference. Bet. Let's get it done.
We're back with Hunter Martin. And Hunter, my question is, this has been the hottest summer. How do you keep them hydrated? But I haven't seen a lot of cramping, which surprised me. What have you guys been able to do?
Yeah, so like you said, we've had record heat. We've had record heat going into fall camp, and that was a huge point that Coach Golf and I sat down and with Coach Lang and, just sitting together as a staff to say, okay, we need to be prepared for this heat. And so the things that we did was, we had a hydration schedule. And so what we did, they reported on the 30th, and then they practiced 3 days after. We started pushing electrolytes. We started pushing fluids just in their meeting. They'd go into their meetings. We're handing them water and Powerade and whatever we can do to promote that hydration.
So a lot of preemptive stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you don't do that, and it's the education side of things too. Mm-hmm. We're telling these kids, hey, you need to make sure for every pound lost when you're out in the heat, it's 32 ounces of water. It's 32 ounces of fluids to replace that body weight and to keep them. I mean, they're machines, right? Yeah. You got to treat them as such to fuel their body with nutrition and food, and then the hydration part to make sure we have equal balance of water and electrolytes in their system to keep them going. And
you have kept them out of the heat in the middle of the day.
Yeah,
you guys start early, and now you're going to go late.
Yeah, that was intentional. So what we have is the wet bulb globe temperature. That is kind of a relative, all in all, temp of what it is outside. It corresponds with the solar radiation in the air and wind speed. So we have a Tesla unit.
Wind speed.
That's right. Funny, right?
High tech.
So we had this little walkie-talkie deal. It's a Tesla heat test, and we set it out on a podium, and it has a little fan at the top, and the wind blows through, and it gives us our reading, our temp reading. So it's between 80 and 95. If that temp gets over 90, 95, I'm running to Coach Golf and say, hey, we got to get off the field. It's too hot. That is the black zone of the wet bulb globe. So what we've kind of been doing over the summer, been tracking it during the day, right, and say, hey, Coach, this is the best time to practice. We're going to fry these kids if we're not practicing earlier or later than this. And so it's helped us tremendously when it comes to getting them out of that sun. And then we have breaks and half times what Coach calls during practice that, they sit for 2-3 minutes. We douse them with cold towels, push hydration even more during practice. And it kept our guys going. I think first day we had a couple of issues, it was kind of that initial shock, right? That first day out in the heat. And after that, the guys have been great. We're conditioned. They're looking really good out there.
We saw none of it Saturday.
Right. We didn't even have a break on Saturday, Jim.
So let's shift gears a minute. So there's there's a building on campus now, the Oshner Christus Urgent Care.
Yep.
And obviously Oshner is a huge supporter and has partnered with us and really it's just changed our entire department through the training room. Talk a little bit about that relationship, how great that relationship has been, and then how the importance of the urgent care.
Yeah, so like you said, Heath, that this urgent care has been a game changer for us, especially being 2 minutes down the road from our facilities. Just on point care, anything they need. If we have a sick athlete, that's another part of our jobs, right? The communication, if you're sick, let's get you treated as fast as possible. Communicating that to the coaches. And Oshner has been unbelievable to us. They're on call, whatever we need, IV fluids, emergency care, x-ray, any of that kind of stuff that we haven't had since I've been here. That's really kind of propelling our sports medicine department in different levels. So
they are not only a corporate partner, but honestly, Jim, they have changed our athletic department because our athletes have never been treated better. I mean, Hunter will tell you, like, our trainers are actually Oshner employees. They've taken over all of the training room, and it is honestly an absolute game changer for us.
That is the biggest difference I've seen is the size of your athletes over the last couple of years and the health. Let's see how it goes this year because you got more depth this year. You got to be happy about the fact that you're not going to run kids to death putting them out there.
No, and that's been huge. I mean, we have 10 full-time certified athletic trainers on our staff, and that just more health care for our student athletes. If it would be just me, there's no way I'd be able to do it, right? So that just gives us more opportunities to get them in front of athletic trainers and to help them prepare to succeed on the field.
Is it kind of strange though because you got so many different sports that each sport has its own kind of uniques of what they need?
Absolutely, yeah. When we hiring and all those things, we kind of tailor it to an athletic trainer that's maybe had some experience in that sport before or kind of has maybe played that sport before, and so they understand in the communication with the coaches of what the needs are of those athletes.
How are the coaches on campus as far as you kind of being able to say, hey, he can't play, he can't go? How have they been to work with?
I have full support from the coaches. They have been outstanding. Coach Goff has been tremendous in that aspect. Whatever is said, and if that athlete can't go, then Hunter, I trust you. I trust our doctors. They'll get back to the field when they can. So not too much pushback on that.
One thing is, I know we talk football a lot, but you've had to do a lot with baseball too, especially arms, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right.
Hudgens especially. How'd you get him back so quick?
So that's a big kudos to my assistant athletic trainer, Josh Paul. He's been amazing. He's been here since I've been here. He actually worked with Heath a little bit with basketball. He's kind of a jack of all trades. He is our upper extremity guy in the training room, and day in and day out, I have to give it to him. He's really got that guy back.
Oh, that's Hunter Martin telling us the insides on keeping kids healthy to play on This Week on Polk Nation. When we get back, we'll get Coach's final thoughts after this.
Get Gordon and get it done. Get Gordon and get it done. Correct. Done. Personal injury. Done. Workers' comp. Done. Truck wrecks. Done. Get Gordon and get it done. Get Gordon and get it done.
Serving the community of Southwest Louisiana since 1954 and a loyal supporter of McNeese State University for over 30 years, Southwest Beverage has provided scholarships to students, supported athletic programs, and sponsored the Banner Series since its inception. We pride ourselves on being the premier beverage supplier in Southwest Louisiana, offering an extensive portfolio of beer, spirits, and non-alcoholic beverages. We're Southwest Beverage, and we want to say thank you for your support.
Welcome to Big Daddy's. Come on in and have a seat anywhere. We're the little restaurant with a lot of flavor.
Big Daddy's, your local neighborhood sports grill and cafe, where there's something for everyone. On the go, try our home-cooked daily plate lunches. Big Daddy's loves kids. Bring your family for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You'll always find delicious food with smiling, friendly faces and servers at Big Daddy's.
Serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And we're locally owned.
We're making meals every day.
It's interesting what goes into a program now.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot.
And now he gets to be an associate AD. Everybody's associate
No,
AD.
I tell you what, he's deserved it.
Can we quit with the jacket?
No,
You got all
the
your
guests
little
come
cronies.
in. I mean,
they're not your
they-
guests. They're your
they-
cronies. They're
no,
the
look.
little Schroyerettes come in here and pick them.
Look, they all watch the show, and they've all commented to me about, man, Jim
Nobody's
looks so much better.
commented. Nobody's
The-
commented.
all the time. But here's what I'll tell you about Hunter. He does a phenomenal job, and I alluded to it in the last segment. But the silos, if you will, that was between the weight room and the training room, they couldn't even be in the same room together. And that was one of the biggest things I had to do was knock that down. Hunter is a great communicator and spends a lot of time with the strength and conditioning staff. I mean, think about it. I mean, I used to sit there and go, this is ludicrous that the training staff would not communicate with the strength and conditioning when you're trying to get an athlete to be better because of two egos. It was ridiculous. But again, that was in the past. And our training room and our weight room right now, that relationship has never been healthier.
No, and it's amazing because you would think the kids would kind of control themselves, but they really do need a lot of guidance.
For sure, 100%. They don't know. That's
yeah,
right.
because I've seen in the last 3 or 4 years here, I've seen a completely different McNeese athlete come in as far as their work ethic goes and as far as that goes. That's got to be because there's opportunity there for them.
Absolutely, and
some guidance
for sure. And when you have more trainers, then you have the ability to give better treatment to your
one-on-one.
For sure. Same thing in the weight room. Like when you only have 2 people that are in the weight room, when I first took over, which was again ludicrous, for 14 sports. Like, how in the world is this one person who's going from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. by 4 p.m. they're worn out?
Yeah.
And those athletes are not getting what they need to get. And I up and revamp that whole thing, and our athletes are starting to again reap the benefits of it.
I remember when I played, the trainer was as important as anything else because that's who you spent most of the time with, actually.
For sure.
You spent more time with that and more grind time than anything else.
You do, and they become almost psychologists because you spend time in the training room, and
they hear about everything when you're working. When you're working out, and then you take that break. They hear everything.
100%. 100%.
More things are said in the more things are said in the weight room than even the dressing room, I think.
Absolutely. And the cold tub and the hot tub when they're getting treatment. 100%.
Yes, more things are said, complained about, and talked about than ever before.
Yes.
So yeah, that's pretty interesting to me. Okay, now that we've had one scrimmage in, you're going Friday night on the next scrimmage. This Friday night. Going to test everything out that night.
Oh yeah,
we won't see the horse, right?
No, we're not going to see the horse. We're not going to see the mystery rider. But I think it'd be great to scrimmage in the lights. I mean, I think I think Coach. The thing I love about Gary is that everything is thought out, and there's a reason why he does everything. And you have the first scrimmage, and you have that in the morning, and then you come back the following week, and you have one at night because we're going to play at night and get used to catching the ball with the lights on, and all those things he thinks about. I think it's going to be great. That one's going to be open to the public Friday as well. And hopefully people, if they don't have plans on Friday, come out and watch us play.
What's that? There were a few people that showed up.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but it was early, it was hot, and there was a lot of things. Friday night's going to be interesting to me because Friday night is your last scrimmage, but it's also the one that basically preempts the start of almost prep week, isn't
Exactly right, yeah. I mean, you're going to, after Friday night, I mean, we're probably going to have to name a starting quarterback, I would think, I'd imagine. But those two,
I would hope.
But I will tell you this though, those two are both really good, and they're both competing their butts off. They're both supportive of each other. Both of them are going to play.
I would agree. Both of them will play.
Both of them are going to play. I think Coach is going to have packages for both. But it's just refreshing to see a healthy program that is doing the things the right way, and I couldn't be happier.
Well, it's got to be pleasant for you and for the community because their investment is paying off.
Well, absolutely. I say it all the time. People don't really want to hear it, but you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for.
I mean, you get what you pay for.
And what we get is you every week, even though we don't pay for you. How's that?
And ditto, my friend.
Next week we'll talk even more football, and we'll talk more about the podcast on Poke Nation.